Welcome to my channel. My name is Valerio and I like to build stuff. Yes, and today I will build the Dougram version GT in the Deluxe Complete Edition, a model kit made by Max Factory for their 10th anniversary. And I bought this model kit on Hobby Japan, and I was very excited about it because first of all, it's a model of a robot that I really like. Second, the price wasn't too high. It was like $60-70, I think, maybe a bit more. I can't remember for the life of me. And I already built another version of this exactly same robot that was way smaller. And if you're curious about how did I paint it and how did I build it, you can look on my Instagram channel, which there is the link on the homepage of the channel. It is Irobody Megalopoli for Instagram. Quietly. Anyway, I was really excited also because from the first image, this is the same scale as a Perfect Grade. The detail and the style looks a lot like the Perfect Grade Unleashed Gundam. So I thought, oh my jeez, I can actually, this is going to be a Perfect Grade done by a company other than Bandai. Well, let's look into it. And normally what I do with the runners is that I don't really discuss about the runners. I just discuss about the build experience and everything inside of it, unless I see something weird. Anyway, yeah, there are water slide decals inside of it. This is already a pretty good sign. That looks pretty good quality, honestly. And now we have the manual. So the manual at first view looks particularly easy. However, it is not very well done. For example, there are some parts that are quite similar between one side and another one, and you don't understand which one goes where. Yeah, that is problematic. Now we're gonna see on the quality of the plastic. It is pretty great. Like, I don't see the reason before painting to rescribe anything, and rescribing is what you do when there are panel lines and the panel line fluid doesn't go through it, and so you have to pick up a chisel and rescribe it. That's what it is, and you pass it over it and you make the hole. There are a ton of miniatures. For the one that are aware of a war game called Warhammer 40k, yeah, these are not the same quality. So, but they're a tiny bit better than the average miniature that you find inside board game, and they're definitely better than the Bandai one, like leaps and bounds over, at least for that. Anyway, so you see there are a ton of these extra runner that you will not have if you bought the normal version out of it. I wasn't particularly interested. I just wanted the extra weapon for the Dougram, which I will show you later. Anyway, runners, giant runners, the pieces are big, the sculpt is great, and the build overall, other than the few problem with actually the manual, not understanding which part goes on which side. Like, you understand which part you need to use, but you don't understand it's upside down or downside up. Anyhow, it was pretty fast. Like, I want to say 2 hours I built the whole of it, maybe 2.5 hours, which, yeah, it's not a Perfect Grade. I can already tell you that. First, it's a bit harder to build because I think the Perfect Grade are pretty easy to build, but it doesn't have an inner frame to begin with, and most of the as far all the Perfect Grade that I build have an inner frame, and well, it looks better sculpt, like the plastic looks, but the plastic is the same quality as Bandai one. I'm even starting to think they might have used the same factory because the white looks a lot like the Perfect Grade Unleashed one. So the build was fun, other than the problem for a couple of stuff. And now we're going to look at accessories. Now, as you can see, there are a bunch of miniature. As I was saying again, they are mildly taller than the one of Warhammer. I think they are 3.5 centimeters, give it or take, or maybe 2.5. Anyway, they are a tiny bit bigger, and you will need glue to attach them. And I'm sorry if I'm not able to watch it on my Instagram channel. I will actually paint them very quickly, but I will still paint them, mainly airbrush them. And yeah, I'm not a giant fan of those, not for anything, but because there is not a display stand where I can just glue it, or a base, or really anything. So they have tiny feet, and it's kind of hard to have them stand up so much. I have to put some blue tack on the bottom of some. Yeah, the arm of this one disappeared halfway through, well, me touching it. Yeah, they all have quite different skin tones. I recommend to look at the image if you're interested into it. And as I was saying, these are the water slide decals. So this is the first extra weapon, the accessories that you found in the Deluxe version, and then you have this backpack with this. Yeah, okay, yeah, this took apart. Yeah, it's not as solid as a Bandai one, but it will not lose parts when you touch it. It's just this one is the only exception, but mainly because I didn't squeeze it enough. Anyway, you have this rocket launcher, you have the giant cannon. The giant cannon is something like, I want to say 12 inches, like it's massive. Like my hand is exactly 10 inches. Yeah, I want to say it's 2 inches more. Anyway, you can attach it at the Dougram. If you have the base version, once again, you will not have this backpack. Please, the DeX version is just a tiny bit more expensive, so go with it. I thought I could have give a bit more mobility. So there are a ton of polycaps inside of this build I forgot to mention before. So anyway, now that we finish with runners and accessories, I'm gonna look at the Dougram DX. So first, feel really solid that I'm really limited with the camera because this stuff live looks amazing. As a friend of mine commented from a picture I sent him, it looked like somebody from the small people, looks very small, but because of the proportion, actually no, it's just me being terrible with the camera. So the Sculpt reminds a lot the work done with the Perfect Grid Unleash, so a lot of details, a lot of panels that reminds a lot of the mechanical works, obviously without all the mechanical headaches. If you've ever done one of those, you should know. As I said, this is 2 hours and a half in this build, and the details is very, very Sculpt. You can see product made with love out of it. And if you're looking, I mean, sorry, I forgot to mention, this is 11 inches and a half. It is pretty light because it doesn't have an inner frame. There are a ton of polycaps out of it, but it's not a perfect grade. And let me go into it when we look at articulation. So this is technically not a statue and it can move a tiny bit. However, you can really see the difference between, so the Sculpt is really god tier, no other way, even the quality of the plastic, how everything is done. However, articulation is way more akin to a classic model kit, maybe an HG that doesn't move very, very much. I can see how Bandai could have done this work, but this has been done by a company that is 100 of Bandai, so it's okay. You see the arms cannot reach shoulder level. There is just a tiny bit of movement out of it. So let's say there is articulation, but this is mainly just, I mean, could have been a statue as well. And I don't think anybody would have complained it because it looks so big, so awesome, and the Sculpt is so good that it's okay. Anyway, it does have a single ratchet, a single joint for the elbow. The hand is over a ball peg. You see, I tried to look if there is a second one, but I remember building it, but maybe a wrong memory, false memory about it. Anyway, you can move the waist a tiny bit. So this is a kind of build that I'm kind of used to see when I look at diecast toys where they didn't have that much, they didn't want to engineer too much. There is a bit of butterfly joint, but you don't want to push it too much because the plastic in that exact part is very, very tiny, and it might actually it's gonna get stressed. There's no way around it. You can move it. So the skirt doesn't move. There is not a drop joint for the leg, so that is it. No split. Tiny bit forward, tiny bit backward. Yeah, and then it goes 90 degrees, at least it's that. So it's not something with whom you can do a ton of dynamic pose, and this is the main difference with Bandai stuff, especially on the Perfect Grid Unleash. While the Sculpt, I will put it exactly on the same level, this gimmick-wise has remarkably little, and I'm still okay with it, but articulation is like a really unjust comparison, because this dude cannot dance, just stand still, waiting for somebody. Anyhow, yeah, this is articulation, yeah, at home. We didn't find them. I mean, there is a tiny bit. Now we're gonna go for comparison. Lego Dude is exactly 1/11 of it. Now, this is Geikie Moderoid, just painted. Average HG high. This is from Votoms. It's the Wave 1 great model kit if you're looking for something cool. That is a full pilot inside of it. Love it. And, well, now this is the Macros, the Max Factory one. Very, very good one. Doesn't transform, but cool. SMP Dietern arrived to the waistcoat. This is, I put this model kit for the Italian version of the video. While this is the Gundam Narrative, not my favorite one, but it's way smaller. Now we're gonna go for conclusion, guys. And okay, so I build stuff and I like to paint them, and once I paint them, I don't like to move them. However, I like my stuff to be able to move before, so I can pose it in the post, in which I will glue the hell out of it. Said so, let me go with pro and cons. This is just my presentation about it. This is actually, the sculpt is amazing. Color separation is perfect. You don't have to rescribe anything. The build is relatively easy, other than a couple of bits. But now for the negative, this stuff can't move, guys. Like, it's completely stuck. It's like a giant potato. I mean, it has the flexibility of a potato. This is actually the most, I mean, it is really the most action pose I was able to give him, which show how good I am in posing and quite the limitation out of it. So if you buy a model kit, not to paint it, but to play with it, this is very, very not the product for you. There is the smaller version of this model kit, way less detail, way more posable, completely on par with an HG, and is also cheaper. But in this case, if you like your model kit to be action figures, so you come from the Gundam world, yeah, that's not really the product for you. However, if you don't care about posing, you just want something cool, super tall, awesome, dark looking, and you like miniature because you like to paint them and you like detail, this is amazing. It has so much character out of it. Still not playable. So which category are you? Classic modeler versus I like to play with my action figures and play obviously as an adult plays, or if you're a kid, as a kid plays, but still this is unable to do both. Like, he can raise one hand, he can move a bit the arms, but no, we are definitely not there. Anyway, from me, I love the Sculpt, so highly recommend. However, if you like to play even a tiny bit with your action figure, this might not be with your model kit, this might not be the model with you, but if you're a skilled modeler, this is gonna be amazing. Anyway, from me, it's everything, guys. Have a nice day. Next week, we're gonna do a new model kit from my backlog. Bye, guys. On my box.